All right, so let's get some analysis on this and speak to Bruce DelValle, who joins us now live. He's a constitutional law and civil expert from Washington, D.C. Welcome. Just on the point about President Biden's campaign, the fact that he's been diagnosed with COVID, is this the crisis point now, Bruce?
I think we're beyond the crisis point, and that's a great question, and that's a great point. What happens in elections and in campaigns is they always try to move forward. They always try to have something, some momentum, either small or large. They can never be static. Worse, they can never go backward. At best, the current Biden campaign has been static, and now it's going backward. Once you lose that gravity, that momentum going forward, it's much like in a football match. If you can't advance the ball forward, you're losing the game because the ball is no longer in a position where you can score with it. In this case, Joe Biden has lost or is losing because he is not advancing the ball, and now it's backwards. What the American public is seeing is a vigorous President Trump being shot, actually shot by an assassin, rising to his feet and defiantly signaling his vigor and his vim and his health and his prosperity and his strength. Well, we have now Joe Biden gingerly walking up the steps, as you see, and he now has COVID and he has to stay home. And I think that's a stark contrast that may be too stark to overcome.
Absolutely. Very stark indeed as a contrast and juxtaposition there. And just on that point of momentum, we are just a month away, Bruce, from the Democratic convention. What do you think the Democrats will do? Who will they nominate?
I don't know. It's possible that they could still keep Joe Biden. It's possible. It's more likely than not that they're going to try to replace him. That's always very difficult to do. If they replace him, who do they replace him with? That's the question. Do they spring someone new on the American public and say, trust us, he's the right person or she's the right person? I don't think anyone wants to see Kamala Harris run. I don't think anyone in the Democratic Party really wants to see Kamala Harris be the signal bearer. She is just inept. She's inadequate intellectually. She's not capable. She's not personable. No one likes her. So I think they would have to come up with another candidate. And I just don't think they can plug one in. Additionally, they have a serious problem in that all of the money that's been contributed to the Joe Biden campaign has to be returned. Or it could possibly be sent back to the DNC and the DNC could distribute it to whoever they want. But they're probably looking at some lawsuits. So they've got a real problem on their hands. They've created a fine mess and they have it. And I don't see any way out of it that makes any sense. So.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredible. And just we're a month away from that Democratic convention on August the 19th. And just I just want to get, Bruce, your views on J.D. Vance and the speech that he gave yesterday. And what gap exactly do you think the Republicans are trying to close by electing him as vice president, as running mate?
I think what J.D. Vance does is he harks back to a long history of American politicians, of American political greatness. A lot of it has been on the Democrat side. That sense of the everyman, the common man, the factory worker, the farm worker, the regular guy, the person that loves America, is very smart, and has worked his way up to create his own reality where he can now be in a leadership position. I think J.D. Vance is what Americans have always looked for in a political leader. Remember, President Trump was born into a wealthy family. He's always been wealthy. There's a lot of things about him that simply don't have any resonance with the common man, no matter how hard he tries. But J.D. Vance has that resonance. J.D. Vance is also an intellectual. He's a deep thinker. He's very philosophical. He is everything the Republican Party stands for. He's also everything the Democratic Party wishes they had. They wish they had a common man, a factory worker, a blue-collar guy that can speak to the hardships of the people out there in the vast parts of America, and the working class, the poor, from the broken families. The Democrats can't relate to that. They're posing for pictures on the cover of Vanity Fair magazine with $5,000 suits. And you know, the final point I'd like to make is this is what happens. The problems that Joe Biden and the Democrats are in is what happens when you put person over party, when you put party over people. What's best for the American people is not even once being considered by Joe Biden or anyone around him. If they stop to consider what would be best for the country, Joe Biden would have stepped down long ago, and they would have had someone ready to run and represent whatever their ideals are. I'm not sure anymore. They don't talk a lot about policy these days. Mm-hmm.
Interesting point, Bruce, putting a person over the party. Thank you so much, Bruce DelValle, constitutional law and expert there, live from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much.